A lot of things got data mined recently from a potential alpha client release, so warning for those who want to be or stay surprised. There will be story and lots of gameplay spoilers ahead. Now let's get started. Professions are looking to be squished. Instead of leveling from 1 to 800, you're instead going to level from 1 to 100, and then pick which expansion-specific crafts you want to learn. With the overhaul to leveling professions from the past 2 expansions, where you no longer really needed to use the old world crafts to level a new profession anyway, this change likely won't be super noticeable, and is more of a natural progression of what they've already been doing. You know, other than those max level crafts being easier to learn. While you may have been open to a lot of your profession crafts without having to level it up, there were a few good ones gated at max level, which was kind of annoying. Lots of new glove enchants seem to be added. Now, I should probably mention here that this is a super early stage data mining and most of these things don't even have names yet. That being said, in Legion we already have glove enchants that are almost purely about doing things faster and do not give combat advantages, like the ones that allow you to mine ore quicker, or skin, herb, or even survey archaeology things faster. And with Battle for Azeroth, it looks like they're adding 2 new things that can be done quicker with glove enchants. So, in addition to the Gathering Profession gloves, they have one for crafting, which I assume will just allow you to craft things quicker, similar to wearing the cooking hat and cooking stuff in half a second as opposed to 2 seconds. And one for the Hearthstone. Now, my main character doesn't really have a Gathering Profession, and I don't know how much the reduction the new crafting enchant will give. But man, am I curious as to the time reduction to the Hearthstone that this glove enchant will actually give. I think only Paladins have had ways to decrease their Hearthstone cast time, like a set bonus in Classic WoW that give him a quicker cast time, or a glyph, but I'm not sure if they still have that or not. But I do know which enchant I'll be taking. A few interesting things from the engineering data mines. It looks like a lot of bombs are being added, with some that slow, root, freeze, stun, polymorph, sleep, and pretty much all of the CCs. Blizzard hasn't really done much with engineering bombs since like Wrath of the Lich King, when they added siege damage and rogues would use bombs as part of their normal rotation. So it's nice to see them going back to that, even if they're most likely only going to be usable out in the world while questing. There's a new item called the Electroshock Mount Motivator, which has the effect of increasing your mount's movement speed by 10% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times for a maximum of a 50% speed boost on your mount, which is pretty good. But it also looks like it has a chance to backfire, like a lot of the other useful engineering items. So it all depends on how bad that backfire is to see if it will be actually useful or not. Next up, we've got the portable transmog pad. There's not really much information on the item other than that it's an engineering item, but going by its name, I'm going to assume it's a portable transmog thing. So you can transmog outside of having the yak mount, or if you want to transmog indoors, which is always convenient. Scribes will be able to make contracts, which seem to increase the rep gains you get with one faction when used, from the new Battle for Azeroth reps only though. Now I don't really know much more information about it, other than it seems to be very useful, but I'd assume you'd only be able to use one at a time, and maybe they'd last like a week, like the Vontis runes do. Because I find it hard to believe they would just be a permanent boost. Jewelcrafting seems to have the same old, just gems and jewelry crafts. Except there is one really unique thing. It looks like the cut red gems give experience bonuses, similar to heirlooms. Now, this is really interesting. Blizzard did say they were capping the XP you can get from heirlooms to 50%. So, would this boost count towards that cap? I'd hope not. Will we still be getting experience at max level, similar to Diablo, and get Paragon levels to boost stats or something? As far as I know, there's no plans for that, so the gem seems useless at max level. In Legion, the red gems currently don't even have their own gem craft, and are only used in recipes for crafted items, or to create other gems. So at least they'll have some use in battle for Azeroth, instead of being worthless on their own, like they kind of are now. And it's also interesting to note that the red gems in Diablo is also the one that gives the bonus XP, when socketed into a helm item anyway. Because in Diablo 3, gems do different things depending on what item of gear you put it in. So the red gem being the XP gem makes the most sense, coming from a long-time Diablo 3 player. Leatherworkers seem to be able to craft a scuba suit and helm. It looks like the helm will allow you to breathe underwater for 15 minutes, and the suit will allow you to swim 100% faster for the same duration, which is pretty neat. A few new interesting alchemy potions were added as well. The one that has me the most excited though is the Elixir of Replenishment. This potion will make it so that for the next minute, your helpful spells will have a chance to leave a short hot on the target. Now, what's great about this is the only healer potions we've really ever had were mana potions, or one of the DPS stat boost ones. But we've never had one specific to healing. Now that I say that, there probably has been one and I just am forgetting about it because it was a forgettable one. But this new one looks to be pretty good, which is an exciting option for healers to have, even if they might end up saving the potion for the mana one anyway, since the mana potions are juicy. I don't know a healer who doesn't go through tons of mana potions on progression rating. There's also a potion that gives you stealth as long as you stand still, and another that turns into a cloud to give you slow fall or float over surfaces. So basically levitate, which are both neat, but there are other items in the game that do similar things already. Now, lots of new mount models have been data mined as well. I'll just go over my favorites. First up, we've got the Hive Mind. The model for the mount looks like Yog's brain, but the unique thing about this mount is that it says other members of your Hive Mind may join you. So this could either mean that other people with this mount can fuse with your character to ride inside of you, or that other party members can click on your mount to go inside without the need of having the mount, and just ride you like a mammoth or a sandstone drake. Either way, that's awesome, and I wonder what the limit is on the number of players. Would it be possible for an entire raid group to get inside one of these? The Brutosaur mount, which looks like one of those long-necked dinosaurs. This cool little ugly toad Loa mount. There's this hovercraft thing, which reminds me of the Alliance BlizzCon mount, the better looking of the two BlizzCon mounts, and a couple of others, but let's go on to the next thing now. Also in the Datamined info is a lot of the spell and class changes. Seeing as Blizzard hasn't really talked much about how they plan to change classes for the next expansion yet, I wouldn't take most of these changes with a grain of salt just yet, and I'm certain 90% of the stuff data mined about classes will be changed. But some of the standout stuff anyway includes hunters seem to be getting trank shot back, which makes sense as it allowed hunters to actually purge magic and rage effects from targets, and was a core part of their toolkit going back to vanilla, and was removed for almost no reason anyway. Also, it looks like Blizzard is changing survival hunters to be more about explosions and pet damage instead of mongoose bite spam, which I've heard is a common complaint of the spec. Mages seem to be getting arcane intellect again, which is just a raid buff. Blizzard did say they wanted raid buffs back. Priests are getting power word fortitude back, which currently is a PvP talent, and will function as a raid buff most likely. Also, Surrender to Madness no longer kills you, which is probably needed since they've nerfed it into the ground since its original form that was actually good enough to warrant such an extreme backlash. And Shamans will be getting Tremor Totem back. Now onto some lore stuff. Now there have been the names of scenarios and certain parts of those scenarios data mined, which give a lot of information about important events that will go down. One of the scenarios, called the Fall of Lordaeron, has a step called Defend the Azerite War Machine, which Wildhead says might hint at the reason for the attack on Undercity, which could probably be the case, but I'd assume it's something else and the Azerite thing just happens to also be a part of it. So what seems to happen during the Siege of Lordaeron is Sylvanas notices that she's losing the battle, and she'll use the plague on the city to make it unlivable so no one gets it, which is a very Sylvanas-like thing to do. It also seems like Saurfang gets captured in the siege, and there's another scenario to go into Stormwind and break him out. Okay, so that's it for the things I thought were interesting in the Datamined stuff. I'd rather not have to wait until Tuesday to talk about all this stuff in the normal video, so I thought I'd just do an extra bite-sized news video like this one to talk about one topic whenever something big comes out, like Datamined alpha stuff for the new expansion. That way, I can keep these news videos on Tuesday bite-sized, instead of spending 3/4 of the video talking about this one thing. So, don't expect a lot of these kinds of videos in the future.